Thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. And we thought, even though the session before us ran a little bit behind, we'd go ahead and get started because these folks have a lot of great information to share with you. My name is Catherine Lawler, and I had the honor this last year of being the chief judge of the Great Places in Louisiana program. I was joined by 6 other judges from across the country who met and debated this spring over a large group of nominations that had come in from across the state, and have the real pleasure of bringing to you today those folks who emerged and their programs and those places that emerged as really great places in Louisiana, places that are worth taking a look at. Their innovations are worth copying and replicating across the state. So I want to just start by telling you a little bit about the awards program and then introduce you to all of the winners and let them tell you about the real story, which is the great work they've been doing. Let me first draw your attention. When you walked in, you should have received, or if you haven't, please get one before you leave. This was the first year of the program, and so encourage all of you to share information and encourage folks that you know to apply next year, because this is a wonderful project, as you'll see, and a great way to get recognition for some good work that you might be doing or others, I'm sure, are doing as well. So the awards program, as I said, it was the first year, and it's a partnership of AARP, the Lieutenant Governor's Office, and the Center for Planning Excellence. But I thought I would just start by talking with you about the whole idea of a livable community. And if you've been spending the last 2 days here, you know quite a bit about this. But actually running an awards program, you have to really ask this question of what is a livable community? And I thought for our discussion purposes today, we might start by talking about what a livable community is not. Because it turns out that it's very hard to find people who are anti-livable community. I do presentations all the time and have yet to have someone protest the idea of a livable community. There really is no constituency for the non-livable community. However, livable communities remain quite elusive across the entire country, and certainly there are challenges here in Louisiana. So what is not livable? Well, this is not livable. It's not the environment in which you roll down your window and take in the fresh air, or you sit delighted that you're missing yet another soccer game or going to be late for dinner reservations. This is not livable. It's not livable to be in a place where every time your needs change, you have to pick up all of your belongings and move to a new community. If you're ready to expand your family and move into a bigger home, if you're ready to downsize, when you're finally an empty nester, whatever the situation may be, most of our communities across the country require that you pack up and find a new place to live, a whole new community, because we have such singular housing types. So this is not livable. These are the kinds of places all across the country where we give ourselves to shop and to get our basic needs, not walkable places, really parking lots that are an invitation for heat stroke too many times than environments in which we enjoy being. Non-livable communities are places where people are often isolated and not connected to the community. Non-livable communities are where it's hard to be engaged, or where there is no social engagement, no sense of place, and no sense of community. And livable communities are actually a lot like marijuana, mostly illegal in most parts of the country. It is really against the rules to do the things that you need to do to make a livable community in most post-World War II environments with the zoning regulations and the financial incentives as they stand today. So what is a livable community? And we could talk about this all afternoon. So this is just the definition we're going to work with for the rest of our time together. A livable community has to be a place where people of all ages and abilities can live, work, and play throughout their lifetime. And saying this makes a lot of sense to a lot of people, but doing it, as you'll hear from our awardees, can be very challenging. It requires a lot of thoughtful planning, a lot of really good decision-making. It requires visioning and creativity. And I'm very proud to say that all of the folks who are going to meet this afternoon embody all of that with their work and their projects on the ground. So the livable communities, why is this important right now? Well, it's important right now because we in this country, and certainly in Louisiana, are at a time of great change in our communities. And AARP is particularly interested in livable communities because of the dramatic change that we're undergoing in our population structure. So just for 1 second, look at the data with me. You'll see that in Louisiana is on the edge of a total transformation of its community structure. These are traditional population pyramids that demographers use to describe the population structure. And you'll see the one you're looking at on the left, the population structure of 2000, is a pretty standard population structure. They're called population pyramids because they always have looked like pyramids. Since human beings have been on the earth, they've looked like pyramids because most of the population is younger. So the bottom parts are the wider areas, and very few people are actually older. But all across the country, and particularly here in Louisiana, we are getting much older as a nation, and this is happening all around the world. So we're moving from population pyramids to population rectangles. And that's not just an interesting drawing. It has serious implications for community life, significant ways that we can expect things to change when the proportion of younger people to older people is changing for the first time ever. So in Louisiana, by 2030, 1 out of 5 people will be over the age of 65. That's remarkable. You'll have more people over the age of 65 than you do small children in the state of Louisiana. So it's a total transformation of the population structure, creating a lot of pressure for thinking about what are the kind of communities in which we live and do they support the people who live there. And the answer in most places is no. Our communities support one person, and that's Peter Pan, the one who will never grow old. The dominant development patterns of the last 50 years took into account nothing about aging. They're actually only designed for people who can drive where they need to go and maintain a house and a yard, and so that does not work for a dynamic body or mind. The other major force that's encouraging a lot of people across the country, and certainly here, to look at why our livable community is important right now is that we have for the first time a convergence of major market forces. So you have, in tremendous number of studies and research that's being done, the baby boomers want out of their communities the same thing as the millennials do. And so for the first time, you have 2 major market forces coming together and saying, we want vibrant, walkable communities. We want places where we can go and play and go to movies and we can be entertained and we can work, and we do not want to spend as much time in our car as our parents did before us. And so this is a tremendous force that communities who are on the edge of understanding these 2 trends coming together will be best positioned throughout the 21st century. And then finally, and we'll just touch on this very briefly, we really are at a time when we have to find a way to get our population as healthy as possible. For really 2 major reasons. We can't afford to have unhealthy people like we do now. And the other is that what's the point of getting to live much longer than we ever have before when one of the greatest things that people say impacts their quality of life is their health? And so these are just some of the statistics on the health of older people in Louisiana. You've probably seen plenty others on the total population. I live in Georgia now, and I can tell you that we just compete with y'all for being 49th or 50th on most of these numbers. So wherever you're 49th, we're usually 50th and vice versa. And we have to stop this in the Southeast, switching about who's at the very bottom and who's at the second bottom. We really do have to find a way to jump to the top and make sure that we have the healthiest citizens that we can. And so these are some of the critical reasons why livable communities are important now and why these partners came together to say we need to find a way to bring to the forefront great innovations across our state. While we can learn from people all across the country and around the world, we have too many great things here in Louisiana not to also learn from as well. And so it's my pleasure to begin to introduce to you our award winners this year and let them tell you a little bit about their work. I said this was really cruel and unusual punishment to take this many people who are tremendously passionate about their work and give them, 5 minutes or less to tell you everything that they do. But they agreed to the challenge, and so we're going to give you a taste of what they do and encourage you to learn more about them. So let me start first by introducing you to Paul Baricos and Joe Sherman, who work with the Hollygrove Market and Farm. The Hollygrove Market and Farm is located in New Orleans, as they'll tell you, but the judges really wanted to draw this to everyone's attention and award them not only for their great work that you're going to hear about, but the way that they developed a creative intervention that makes the Hollygrove community, but also all of the surrounding neighborhoods, more livable. So creating a livable community is not necessarily about bulldozing everything you have and starting over. It really is about really good creative thinking and what is our gap and how do we make an intervention that leverages existing positive resources in the community into a more livable place. So I encourage you to think about that as Paul and Joe tell you about their great work. You're good. And when you're done, I'll click for you.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Catherine, and thank you to the sponsors of this award. Lieutenant Governor's Office and Center for Planning Excellence and AARP, Louisiana. It's really an honor to receive this award. Although I can say sometimes we don't really think of ourselves as a great place, and Hollygrove Market and Farm, because of, for the most part, the day-to-day challenges that nonprofits face in New Orleans and elsewhere in Louisiana, not only because of the economic times that we're in, but also because of just the issues and the problems and the challenges that that we face. Let's see. I'm sorry. Before pictures.
Yes. Let's see. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, okay. Well, we're trying to get that straight. I'm sorry. We are a nonprofit, Hollygrove Market and Farm. We're community-owned. We're an urban micro-farm and educational center, and a market located in the heart of New Orleans. If any of you are familiar with, are vaguely familiar with New Orleans, around Xavier University, in between Mid-City and the Carrollton area of New Orleans. We are owned by the Carrollton Hollygrove Community Development Corporation, a nonprofit, and Joe Sherman is a member of that board. Although we are owned by that, we are a program of the Carrollton Hollygrove nonprofit, Carrollton Hollygrove Community Development Corporation, and the board is made up mainly of Carrollton and Hollygrove residents. The CDC was formed in 2007. The Hollygrove Market and Farm was formed in 2008. We leased a 1-acre plot of ground with a 5,000 square foot building on it in Hollygrove. And we have, although we own it, in effect, it is a collaborative, a partnership between several organizations. And can we get that slide up, Kathy? No? Okay. And I'll just name them. The partnerships are New Orleans Food and Farm Network, and their mission is to promote backyard organic fruit and vegetable garden. Tulane City Center, who I believe spoke actually in the session before us. They're a program at Tulane School of Architecture. Trinity Christian Community, a social service organization, and Master Gardeners of Greater New Orleans, which is a program of LSU Ag Center. Our mission is really in three parts. The mission of the farm, first, is to provide or to make access to fresh fruits and vegetables available to Hollygrove residents. And really the reason that the market and farm came into being was because of all the planning processes that took place in New Orleans on a neighborhood-based level and throughout the city, really. Every flooded neighborhood went through a planning process, and just about in all those neighborhoods, at the top of the list was access to food, including fresh food and fresh fruits and vegetables. So our mission began with making Hollygrove residents, giving Hollygrove residents access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And as a result of that, once we started doing that and purchasing produce to sell to and make available to Hollygrove residents, we realized that we had another mission. That was supporting local farmers, both urban and rural. And then the third mission is to act as a demonstration site for environmental practices. The market and farm, as the name implies, we have really two major focuses. And the slides that you're seeing now are just random slides of both the market, which is on the first floor of that building I mentioned, and the surrounding farm. The farm, we promote backyard organic fruit and vegetable gardening. And we do that in two ways. Since Katrina, we have installed, through our partner organization, New Orleans Food and Farm Network, we have installed over 40 backyard gardens, fruit and vegetable gardens. And not only that, but we bring these growers into periodically for workshops or talks, or just for them to talk to each other about issues and challenges that they're facing. But we also have demonstration beds on site, and these demonstration beds are maintained by the Master Gardeners of Greater New Orleans and by about 10 or 12 different community growers that from the neighborhood. And the purpose of those beds is just to show people what you can grow, how you can grow. They answer questions that people have from all over the city who come to ask about backyard gardening. In addition to that, the farm serves as an urban micro training farm. Some of those slides, those are the demonstration beds that the Master Gardeners maintain. You may have seen some of the in-ground vegetables growing. And we have two what we call mentor growers, very experienced growers that maintain those beds, and they actually sell their produce. We buy some at the market. They sell to restaurants and other institutions. And informally, they talk to people who are interested in growing in an urban environment for commercial purposes, that is to sell their produce. Formally, we hope to initiate a formal program. We're having a little trouble getting it off the ground, but that formal program would have a curriculum, and we would also provide some small business management, marketing, and accounting and things like that to apprentices who would be assigned to these mentor farmers. The mentor farmers would take them on for approximately a year. And the third function of the farm, as I mentioned, is just to demonstrate to visitors some environmentally sustainable practices. For instance, on the farm, we do composting. We have cistern irrigation. We have a 1,000-tank cistern that we use to irrigate part of the field. We have smaller 55-gallon drum irrigation systems. We do recycling. We have chicken coops. We have 10 layer hens. Urban chickens is really growing in New Orleans, and I know across the country, and I would bet in Baton Rouge also, we put on workshops for urban growing chickens. And we put on sustainable gardening workshops. We have a rain garden that we built on site, and we're also now in the process of developing a stormwater management plan involving lots of different components that could serve as a model for future urban gardens in Louisiana and New Orleans and elsewhere, but also businesses and residents that will find things useful that they can implement in their neighborhoods to reduce flooding from stormwater. As far as the market goes, we operate what we call a buyer's club. It's a CSA-style buyer's club. Many of you may be familiar with that. We modified it some, and it's not a single farmer we buy from. We buy from many farmers, depending on the season. We put together a box of produce, and we sell it for $25. We buy the produce that we sell. We buy from a network of our collective of small rural farms and urban farms. There are some backyard growers we buy from. There are some community gardens, a few. There are a few and growing number of urban commercial growers, urban micro farmers. But for the most part, we buy from small family-owned rural farms in southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi. Those of you who got that packet in there, Moores, if you didn't get it, there's a report on what we did in 2009. And we bought approximately $268,000 worth of produce from those farms in 2009 that we in turn sold at the market. We hope to get a store. Well, we're open 2 days a week, on Tuesdays and on Saturdays. We sell, in addition to the produce, we sell dairy products, farmyard eggs, milk and cheeses from a local dairy. We have a local baker that we buy and sell bread from, and we sell value-added products, jams and preserves and sauces. Everything in the store we sell is local produce or locally manufactured. We hope in the future to construct a commercial kitchen on the second floor in order to make things to sell in our market, to conduct cooking classes, but probably most importantly, to foster entrepreneurs in the food industry, people who want to, there are lots of different ways they can go with that, either value added or catering, but we hope to foster both the growers on site and growers throughout the city. Our customers, for the most part, are from Hollygrove and surrounding neighborhoods, Mid-City in New Orleans and Carrollton, Uptown. Although once we opened there, we find, we did a survey, we get customers from all over the city into the market for various reasons. Number one being just the quality and the freshness of the produce that we sell, because it is local. People who are interested in economic development and buying local movement, people who are interested in the environment, buying produce that is trucked only a few miles to market as opposed to 1,500 to 2,000 miles or whatever. They're worried about that carbon footprint. We would not be able to, the core operating expenses, our core operating expenses are paid for through market sales, which is sort of a new type of model for nonprofits. And we could not sustain ourselves selling just in that underserved neighborhood of Hollygrove. So in effect, all of the citizens or residents throughout the city help us to underwrite the programs that we conduct in Hollygrove and those other adjacent underserved neighborhoods. We also operate a few satellite markets. We sell in the French market now and a couple of other markets and in 2 universities. And finally, as a result of those first 2 activities, the market and the farm, we have become a real community center. We host numerous meetings from a variety of organizations, many Hollygrove organizations, but organizations throughout the city. We're a host of AARP, Livable Communities meetings, and there's every Saturday we have tabling from a variety of organizations who want to promote their cause or recruit volunteers or enlist volunteers or whatever. So that's it. I guess my time is out. I want, again, thanks to the sponsoring organization, and thank you for showing up today. And we have a website. It's on that material. If you have any questions, just give us a holler through that. Thank you.
Now let me introduce to you Stephanie Smith, who is with the PACE program of Greater New Orleans. They are an award winner this year, and as you'll hear from Stephanie, because of the innovative work they're doing to make it possible for people to stay in their communities for as long as possible. And the way that they're bringing together diverse services, which in many parts of the country and still in many parts of Louisiana are distinct and separate and uncoordinated, and they're taking on all of those challenges as well and making a streamlined, supportive system for people who are aging in the community. And you'll hear from Stephanie providing a lot of benefit to people of all ages.
Thank you. Okay, so just push here. Right here. Okay. All right, that's a little better. Thank you for inviting us all here to talk today and to tell you a little bit about our programs. We're honored to receive these awards. I'm the Executive Director of PACE Greater New Orleans, and this is the Shirley Landry Benson PACE Center at St. Cecilia. We are in the Bywater area at 4201 North Rampart Street. If you're familiar with New Orleans, that is a couple of blocks from the Industrial Canal in the upper 9th Ward, not too far from where 5 years ago you saw people rescued from rooftops. So we're very proud to be giving back to the community in a very different way. Our center is completely renovated. It used to be a historic Catholic church. We have converted it to the PACE Center, and PACE stands for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. With that, we provide all needed care and services in one site, in the local community near where the residents live. It enables frail seniors with chronic health care diseases to stay in their homes with their families in their communities as long as feasibly possible. When they come into our program, they are in this beautiful space. We take care of all of their health care needs. We provide the transportation to and from the day center, and we provide all the services there in the center as much as possible. This is our mission statement that says we want to enhance the quality of life, autonomy for frail older adults while maximizing their dignity and respect. We enable frail older adults to live in their homes and in the community as long as medically and socially feasible. And we support the family unit. This is one of our bus drivers and our participants. You can see we're community-based, we're comprehensive, capitated, which means we get flat fees from Medicare and Medicaid every month, and we're at full risk for all the medical care of the people enrolled in our program. It's coordinated care. So it's very important for us to do as much on the preventive side as possible. We bring them in our own vans to our center every day where they participate in a multitude of activities. They see our primary care physician who is on site. We have our own clinic. We have our own certified nursing assistants there that take care of them in the center during the day. They are provided with meals, and then they go home at night to live in their homes. So we provide all of their health care on site, and if they need to go to specialists, we take them to their specialists, send personal care assistants with them, coordinate all of that as well. This is the criteria for being in PACE. You have to be 55 years of age or older, living in our PACE service area, which right now is just the East Bank. So that involves the Bywater area, the French Quarter, Uptown New Orleans, and a few other zip codes. You have to be certified as needing nursing home level of care, so the medical need there, able to live safely in your community with the services of the PACE program. So all of our participants are enrolled in Medicare and Medicaid, so they're low-income, frail seniors. Really what seniors want and what they focus on is, what can I do to stay in my home? How can I be as independent as possible? I can't drive, I can't see good, I can't hear good. You know, what will enable me to be as independent as possible and for people to see me with respect as I'm 80 years old. And so that's what we do. We want the maximum level of physical, social, and cognitive function. We provide all the services there, and then we also pull in the family unit and put a lot of services into the homes as well. So we provide personal care assistance there in the homes. This is one of our Mardi Gras parties. You can see we do a lot of fun activities in the day center. But we also, coordinate with their families in the home, providing all their medications, having counseling with the families because we have social workers on site. We also provide a dietitian who works with them on their diabetes because we can give them the best wonderful meals at the center, but then they get home, they eat fried chicken and lasagna and jambalaya and all these good foods, and it doesn't help them so much. So it's a lot of counseling with the families as well. These are all the services that we provide. When we say all-inclusive, it's all-inclusive. We're the first PACE center in the state of Louisiana. The second one opened here in Baton Rouge 1 year later, and we hope to expand this model throughout the state of Louisiana. But these are all the services that we provide in a coordinated fashion. So a lot of times seniors get their health care in silos. They're going to multiple doctors, seeing lots of different specialists, getting lots of different medication. So the whole team comes together to do the care planning for these individuals. We have physical therapy, nursing. See, we have occupational therapy and physical therapy there on site. We deliver meals to their home, so they have nutritious meals there in their home as well at the center. We have medical care and home health care. The dentist is on site, so everyone that comes in our program is immediately evaluated for dental needs, because there are a lot of infections that come in through the mouth, and there's not good oral health care for a lot of these low-income seniors. Optometry, podiatry, you can see the list. But one that's I'm proud of, too, is the respite care. A lot of families just need a break, and what we provide, it's not a requirement, but what we provide is at least 10 days of respite care where families can go on vacations, or they can just take a break from mom and dad, because they need that relief so that they can keep going and keep helping mom and dad stay at home. This is just our team where they come together every week and they discuss each person's needs. We're very small. We can only have 147 people enrolled in our program. We have 121 now, so there's a huge demand. And we take a true interest in every individual. These are just some of the competencies of the program. We have as many providers there on site as possible. We're contracted with Auctioner Health System for our specialty needs, as far as specialty providers, labs, x-rays, those types of things. Everyone is nursing home eligible. We provide good outcomes. We have a lot of high satisfaction. It's a best practices model, and we want to expand it. This is the rectory. That it was attached to the school building, attached to the church that you saw in the first picture. There's a connector walkway that was built between the two buildings. That's the newer portion. This area houses the clinic area, and upstairs there's office space and the dentist office. And there's a separate physical therapy area in the connector building, and then the church is where we have the adult day health center. So that's where all the food's served, most of the daily activities occur. All right, so that's PACE Greater New Orleans. Come see us. We have a website, pacegno.org. We are planning a second site on the West Bank, which is on Barriere Boulevard, on the Hope Haven campus. It's another wonderful church and school renovation, because our intent is to give back to the community, but just in a different way. So these beautiful historic structures can be renovated, repurposed, and reused and maintain their integrity, and also, like I said, keep seniors in their community living where they want to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now I have the pleasure of bringing up Davis Rhorer, who is with the Downtown Development District here in Baton Rouge. They were given an award as well, and then after that you'll hear from Lauren Fitch with the Kress Housing Project. The judges were very excited to see all of the work going on here in Baton Rouge. We actually convened everyone here in Baton Rouge, and so the projects from Baton Rouge we actually got to visit and see during some of the judging. And it was so exciting to see how in Baton Rouge they're taking over a period of time and keeping the momentum going to put a really comprehensive plan in place to transform the downtown Baton Rouge. And the judges really felt that there were so many lessons to learn from this effort that could be applied to downtowns of smaller and larger scale because of how they're doing it, the multidisciplinary partnerships, the creative financing, and the sheer willpower every day that they're putting into really transforming this area. So I'm delighted to introduce Davis to you, and here you can hear about his great work.
Thank you, thank you. As she said, it is a process. I think that I have to say first off that it's just absolutely imperative that you have great plans that you begin with, and with that is a community partnership with that. We are so honored for this award this year, and we thank all of you for that. I'm so impressed with the other the award winners as well. Those programs are just phenomenal, and congratulations to you. With the Arts and Entertainment District downtown, It was established in 2008, and it brings together many of the plans, projects, and initiatives of the DDD that has led over the past 2 decades to reposition Louisiana's capital city as a regional arts and entertainment hub. Certainly what we sit in today in this Manship Theater and the Shaw Center for the Arts is an epicenter of one of the cultural aspects that we have downtown. Important, though, in that, and one of the slideshows is one of the residential units that we have along the 3rd Street corridor there. It was imperative, though, in doing that, in paving the way, there are a number of partnerships that we established in giving that momentum and that dimension to downtown Baton Rouge, and things such as Capitol Park, one of our earlier plans to consolidate state government downtown. When you put over 2 million square feet of new office space downtown and 2 million square feet of parking garages, and you energize those parking garages with things like the YMCA or restaurants or something, that helps to develop that very much streetscape and that pedestrian-friendly space that you need. But other things like a hotel, the Hilton Hotel across the street, the Sheraton Hotel, the soon-to-be Hotel Indigo, which will open up in December of this year. Through the dynamics and the dimensions, we began to explore how do we make these difficult projects happen. The Hilton, as an example, we created a tax increment financing, a TIF. And it was the first time we'd ever done that in Baton Rouge. And now that hotel sits as a real epicenter for the Arts and Entertainment District. It has the Keep Louisiana Beautiful conference going on at the same time that this Smart Growth Summit is going on. So we've been back and forth for the last few days and stuff. But it also, after every financial institution told me that you couldn't finance a hotel in downtown Baton Rouge, it now leads in occupancy rates in the entire Baton Rouge region. So we're very, very excited about that future. Other projects like Restoration Renaissance were programs that wanted to stabilize our historic residential neighborhoods that we sponsored for several years. We have well over 2,000 people that live in the downtown area, and an eclectic mix of craftsman and bungalow-style homes. We have an elderly residential unit in there as well, and I do like the diversity of housing mix that we have downtown, and that's very, very important as we continue to develop housing, that we maintain that diversity. In the Arts and Entertainment District, things such as the Certified Cultural Product District, and I see Gay in the back there. Thank you so much for helping us with that and creating that. That tax incentive that you have for both residential development as well as state sales tax rebates on that. Historic restoration tax credits were critical for some of the housing stock that we had this past year. We had 3rd Street Corridor declared a National Historic District, and I know you'll hear very shortly from some of the specific type of incentives that were used for the Kress building as well. And then gap financing, where you start putting into place what is the leverage, what is the difference in order to make some of these buildings happen. So things like the Commerce Building, which has always been a target of ours, and again, that's along the 3rd Street corridor, to make that into residential. So that was a real focus of our latest plan, Plan Baton Rouge 2, in trying to make that happen. Creating in an arts entertainment district the diversity and the interests, such as museums and art galleries, restaurants, live music venues, programming, are imperative for residential development downtown. The pedestrian experiences are important. Intersection improvements, some $10 million in streetscape improvements that were completed to give you those simple pedestrian crosswalks. And changing the whole aesthetic of the street is important, and that's an ongoing program. Our wayfinding signage program, again, it is a story to tell the interest of Baton Rouge, but to get you around downtown Baton Rouge, whether you're on a trolley or whether you're walking around or whether you're in a vehicle coming to downtown, to make it easy for you to get where you're going, but also to tell a story about Baton Rouge. What are some of the interesting things? Who are some of the interesting artists that are part of our city, and some of the interesting things you can experience in downtown? And other things such as linking downtown via other means besides vehicles, such as a Levy bike path. We have 2.5 miles completed to Skip Burtman Drive at LSU, and very shortly we will have groundbreaking on another 2.5 miles that will take you to Farr Park, so 5 contiguous miles downtown, and that's an ongoing project with other bike paths in the works. The Town Square is a project that, again, right outside our doors here at 3rd Street and North Boulevard, several block area along North Boulevard. We're creating a town square for our city, which we don't have one right now, and it'll include a media tower that'll have all sorts of information, fun things, but also disseminating transportation information, such as 2 minutes or 30 seconds before the trolley arrives or the bus arrives and where it's taking you. But it'll also be spaces, public spaces for the public to enjoy, both passive and active recreation. So we're wiring the whole thing for everything from outdoor movies to just all sorts of experiences. If the Y wanted to have something function there, we could have that as well. Any type of public gathering, it's creating a sense of place. And with some $200 million in projects that are located around the facility that are underway, such as the new federal courthouse, or rather state courthouse that you see, it'll open up in October. It will be completed by the end of 2011. Continuing on that, we are transforming and starting to green downtown, what we call it the greening of downtown, and pulling up some of the hardscape and making large green spaces. And this is Galvez Plaza, which is directly adjacent to the old state capitol and the River Center Library. It'll link into the town square, but we're building a permanent stage for a lot of our programming activity, but just large, vast of lawn, green area. Again, it'll be wired for sound. It'll have lighting in there, and then all sorts of special activities, and then an iconic type of structure for the stage itself that will be, I think, a new symbol for the city. Continuing along next to Galvez Plaza's Repentance Park, and it's a part of the River Center campus. We're going to be choosing a design consultant actually next week to begin the design phase of that project to transform it and make it again more user-friendly for the Arts and Entertainment District area and the public that lives down here and the general visitor who comes down here. In doing that, we want to build a brand, and everything from our logo update, tagline, new stationery, office renovation. Our webpage is downtownbatonrouge.org, so it's very easy, but you can get all the information there on that. We, again, wanted to streamline that in with our social media and interactive campaign that we have, and it disseminates information such as weekend events and development initiatives, and we have thousands of people that are a part of our emails that we send out every week, and we encourage that. Our monthly board meetings, in fact, this past last Tuesday, we had 135 people attend our board meetings at 8 a.m. in the morning. We're very strict, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., but we engage the public. It's very, very important that the public become a part of the process of all of the projects that we plan downtown. Again, making it easy, we have an interactive parking guide. You know, all you do is type in where you want to go, and it's going to give you all the spots of where you want to park, and it'll give you the Google link if you want to go from your house and the exact route to get there. Event guidelines, we have tenant listings, and we're even on Twitter. I can't emphasize enough on this new master plan, again, engaging so many different entities in the public, in the public process on planning. It's just imperative because you get that buy-in early, and when you do that, then when we start making the initiatives of implementation, you have a group of people that are supportive and they're behind you. We can't do it by ourselves, and we never could, and so it's important that, again, we bring and engage the public on that process, and it always produces a better product. Again, the outcome and the instant impact, you know, some 28 new projects, a $236 million plan, new investment in the Arts and Entertainment District area. So again, we're seeing that around us. Just announced last week was the expansion of the Little Village restaurant will open up in the bottom of Kress. As I said before, a new hotel is coming, a boutique hotel, and a few other very exciting projects as well. In conclusion, I think that you know, the model that we've created here with the Arts and Entertainment District is one that it has worked very well for us, and we're very, very proud of it. And our mission is to focus on the big picture and to play that role in reshaping and energizing downtown. And we've seen some $2 billion in investment in downtown thus far, with many, many new projects underway. Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Davis. And let me introduce you next to Lauren Fitch, who is going to come up. She is part of the Kress housing, Kress at 3rd and Main, right down the street from here. And we, again, speaking for the judges, we had the opportunity to review so many great projects. And you'll see that we picked very different projects to highlight some of the key components of a livable community. And we wanted to award the Kress housing project along with the downtown development work because of our opportunity to really stress how important the link is between where people live and where they get to do all of these things, work and play. And that when you have all of those things in one place is when it's truly livable, not when they're separate entities. So this was an opportunity to really acknowledge how that integration is going on here in downtown Baton Rouge. And you'll hear all kinds of really wonderful details about the project. So thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. My name is Lauren Fitch. I'm here today to represent the Kress at 3rd and Main. I'm happy to receive this award on behalf of really the true champions of this project would be the late Brace Godfrey, who was an amazing community activist, and also John Schneider, who is brilliant. If you didn't get to catch his presentation today on financing opportunities, he's just brilliant in his own mind, and they're true civic-minded developers. So I think that's why this project was chosen, because it is a true example of a mixed-use project and how you can work together with creative financing and your community partners to really put that model into a community that may not have had it before. This is a picture of the Kress after. Do I click here? Sorry.
No, I should have showed you.
Okay. The history of the Kress, it was built, it was 3 buildings. It's the Kress, Knox, Welch, Levy building. It's 3 different buildings. And this is around 1887 and 1912 when downtown was at its finest. These are some pictures. And the reason this project was able to get to where it is today was because of the history, the historic preservation aspect of this project. In March 28th, 1960, the Southern 16 basically sat down for justice, which sparked the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King, and that happened there at the Kress. So we actually had recently the 50th anniversary of that event. And so therefore this building was listed on the National Register of Historic Places for those monumental events. In the fall of 2003, this building was scheduled for demolition 3 times. It was an eyesore, as you can see from this picture, graffiti, everything else. And Brace Godfrey and John Schneider came along and saved it from demolition. Now, how did they do this? It was creative financing. They used state and federal new market tax credits combined with the state and federal historic tax credits. It's called a twin deal. And that was where they were able to get the equity for this project. And also they had a private equity investor, because as you know, in this financial environment, there are no 100% bank finance deals. So the mixed use example, these are the 2 different styles of apartments that we have. We have the Victorian style, which showcases the original exposed brick and the original cypress beams. It kind of has that New Orleans feel to it. And it's really unique that we have 19 residential units, yet each one has its own flair. They're not cookie cutter. They're very luxury, upscale to the T. And the next one is the Art Deco apartment, which is more the clean, modern look. Now, I believe one of the best things, my perspective, I worked on this project, but I also live in this building. So I have a testimony as to how you can live downtown in Baton Rouge, which is very prevalent in other cities. You can walk around. But me growing up in a suburban area of Baton Rouge, I didn't even see this as a possibility. So now I'm able to walk to work. I'm able to if I want to raise my family, there's churches and daycares and schools around me. My husband and I ride our bikes to the LSU game. it's just a really neat concept, and we're able to have one vehicle in Baton Rouge, which is really great. And I really think that's why this is a livable place. And as Davis stated, we do have a commercial side. We have 15,000 square feet of retail, 10,000 square feet of office space, and then the 19 residential units. And even though the economic climate postponed the commercial side, we do have Little Village moving in, which will be open in October, so we're very excited about that. And our residents will be able to actually probably get room service, so we're really excited about that, to get Little Village bread delivered to our place. And that really, the neat thing about the resident mix of the Kress tenants is that we're diverse in age, race, economic status. I'm in my 20s, but there are residents that are in their 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s. We have this development is universal design, and it's attractive to all walks of life, and you can really stay in this building. So that's a neat component of the Kress. Okay. So that's the whole model: live, work, play, and our model is Kress is the place to be. Any more questions? I know I had to keep this short and sweet, but I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
So we just want to finish up with you and be able to kind of give you an opportunity, if you'd like it, this late on a Friday afternoon, to ask some specific questions. But I wanted to tell you, again, from my perspective and from the judge's perspective, we saw very diverse projects. And you'll see, I think they've enjoyed talking with each other just as much as they had the opportunity to share with you, because all of them are doing very different things. But there was a theme to all of them that was important about what's the process to making a livable community, a goal that most people share, but tends to be elusive in most communities. How do they make this really happen? And we found a couple key things in these awardees. And one was that they were all good listeners. They integrated public input into every part of their process. They all do that continually now, that they are responding to the community and its specific needs, and that has contributed to the success of their program and really the livability components of it. These people don't understand the word no. They don't listen to the word no, and when they find a barrier, they come up with a workaround around it. And because livable communities don't happen naturally on their own, and that many of our rules and regulations actually stand in the way of making the places we live livable, this was obviously a component that it was important to their success, and we certainly saw it across all of the awardees. We also found that all of them were willing to embrace risk, and risk just comes with any new idea, and risk can be as exciting as all of the work that they're doing, but they found a way and an environment that supported their creative and new ideas. And if we want to think about continuing the development of livable communities across the state of Louisiana, we have to make it okay for more people to take some risk and to do something new and creative. It's going to be an important part of moving some of these ideas to scale. We also found that they, while that they're inventive and creative, they'll steal any good idea that will come their way, and that's really important too. And there are many, many places to learn from, many good ideas. When it comes to moving numbers around, whether you're trying to make the market run every day, whether you're trying to combine the two major forces of Medicare or Medicaid, or you're trying to do financing in a downtown environment, and oh, by the way, when the entire Wall Street and banking economy collapses, when you keep going in those places, these folks are willing to take good ideas, but also be creative on their own. And then I wanted to just kind of point out to you, it's a different kind of leadership too, and I call it the Babe Ruth leadership. And you've heard the story many times about in the 1932 World Series, in the fifth inning at Wrigley Field, when Babe Ruth decided he knew just where his home run was going to go. So he focused all of the attention, he called the shot, and he swung really hard. And that kind of leadership is really important, and we see it in each of them. None of these people are done, but this is what they're doing in their communities. means bringing people together, but also the swing really hard part, putting a lot of energy and focus and momentum behind it. So just wanted to draw out a couple of those key characteristics we saw, and I expect we'll see again next year when we have the opportunity, because we expect you to help be ambassadors of our program and encourage folks to apply in a new crop of winners next year.